Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Hey, check it out, I'm playing Magic again, and in today's game, Arja wins the die roll, starting us off. He draws and plays a Marsh Flats. My land for turn is a Vernal Fen, and I ship it. Max draws, plays a Willow Rush Verge, and passes. Mathieu's land for turn is a Temple of Triumph, and he scries 1. He bottoms the card, and he passes turn, with Arja cracking his Marsh Flats to go and find a Plains. Arja draws, casting Esper Sentinel, and he then plays a Godless Shrine, which comes in tapped. I play a Twilight Mire, and cast Soul Ring. I then follow up with Springbloom Druid, and I sacrifice the Mire as it comes in, going to find 2 basics. Max drops a Flooded Grove, and pays 2 for Shared Roots. Arja gets to draw a card from the Sentinel trigger, and Max passes while searching. Matt plays a Fury Calm Snarl, and reveals an Alpine Meadow so it comes in untapped. He then pays 2 for Milliken, and passes. Arja's got a Swamp, and he casts Sedgemoor Witch. He then hits Mathieu for 1 with the Sentinel, and passes. I've got a Tainted Wood, and I cast White of the Reliquary. I then follow it up with Ghoulish Procession, paying the 1 for the Sentinel trigger, and pass. Max draws and casts a Frantic Search, but doesn't hit a land, and can't pay for the Esper Sentinel trigger, so Arja draws a card. He passes after that. Matt plays Sundown Pass, and then casts Quintorius. Arja draws from this, and once his walker is out, Mathieu upticks him, discarding a mountain, and then draws 2 and mills a card. Arja's got a Vault of Champions, and then an Orzhov Signet. He follows up with a Felwar Stone, and then swings both of his creatures at Quintorius. Max responds with a Rapid Hybridization on the Milliken, so that Mathieu can hopefully block the Esper Sentinel. It's destroyed with Matt making a token. But before moving to blocks, Arja casts a Go for the Throat on the Frog Lizard to make sure his creatures go through. Quintorius then drops to 2 loyalty, and Arja passes. I draw, casting Dina, and follow up with a Warren Soul Trader. I then swing the White of the Reliquary at Quintorius, taking him out, and passing turn. Max draws, but doesn't have a land, and passes. Matt's got a Plains, paying 2 mana for an Arcane Signet, and then follows up with a Selfless Spirit. Arja's land drop is a Plains, and he casts Silverquill. He then swings out at Max for 5, and passes. During the end step, I sacrifice my Decayed Zombie to the White of the Reliquary, going to find an Urborg during the end step. I draw, cast Zoophyte, and pass. Max draws and still can't find a land, and has to pass. Matt's turn has an Alpine Meadow coming in, and he casts Hofri, and passes. Arja plays out a Silent Clear in his main phase, and then sacrifices it to draw a card. He follows up with Nadir's Nightblade, and then an Ophiomancer, and goes to combat. He swings the Sedgemoor Witch at Max, and Silverquill at Mathieu, with both taking the hits. After that, Arja passes, and during the end step, I cast Malakir Rebirth on my Springbloom Druid, losing 2, and then sacrificing it to the White of the Reliquary. This draws me a card with Dina, and I get to go and find Cabal Coffers, and then 2 basics as the Springbloom Druid comes back and I sacrifice a land. I also make a zombie token. I draw, play a forest, and sacrifice my zombie token to Dina, putting 2 counters onto the Warren Soul Trader and drawing a card. I then cast Greater Good, paying the 1 for the Sentinel trigger, and pass. Max draws and delves away some cards so he can dig through time. keeping the best two, one of which is a land, and he plays a hedge maze and surveils one, and then passes after that. Mathieu draws and casts a Faithless Looting, paying the 1 to the Sentinel trigger, and then draws 2 and discards 2. He then plays a Plains, and follows up with a Balefire Liege, and passes to Arja. Arja draws and casts Demonic Tutor, sacrificing an Ophiomancer snake to Silverquill's Casualty ability and gets a copy of it. The table gets drained for 1 because of Ninir's Nightblade, and Arja goes to tutor for 2 cards. He then casts Bolus's Citadel, and plays a Westvale Abbey off the top. He then casts Snuff Out, paying 4 life, and sacrifices a creature to copy it with Silverquill. He targets the Selfless Spirit, and my Springbloom Druid. With the targets on the stack, I sacrifice my Druid to the Wither Reliquary, tutoring for a Bajuka Bog, and target Arja with it as it comes in. Mathieu also sacrifices his spirit to make his creatures indestructible, and with Hoffrey seeing the spirit go to the graveyard, he brings it back as a token copy. Going to combat, Arja then swings the Sedgemoor Witch at Max, and Silverquill at Mathieu. And Matt trades with the Selfless Spirit, since Arja's forgotten that Hoffrey bumps the creature, plus the spirit has indestructible from its own ability, as Hoffrey had brought the token back before the ability went off. Silverquill is taken out, and Arja passes. I draw and cast a Haywire Might, and sacrifice it, exiling Bolus's Citadel. I gain 2 life as it's sacrificed, and draw a card from Dina, and I then cast an Enduring Tenacity. Going to combat, I swing on the right of the Reliquary at Arja. He chumps it with a Pest token, gaining a life as it hits the graveyard. I pass after that. Max's land drop is an Inkmoth Nexus, and he then casts a Coastal Breach, paying the 1. Matt sacrifices the Selfless Spirit in response, and I sacrifice my Warren Soul Trader to Dina, putting 5 counters onto the white of the Reliquary, and draw a card. I then sacrifice the white to the Greater Good. This has me drawing 10 and discarding 3. Despite the tokens being bounced to nothing, Ninir's Nightblade still triggers and drains Arja's opponents for 4. And with nothing else, Max passes. Matt draws and plays a Maria, which comes in tapped. He then casts an Arcane Signet. He continues with Cassia's Welcome, and then Inti, drawing a card from the Welcome as Inti enters, and then passes turn. Arja plays a Swamp and casts Divine Visitation. He follows it up with Ophiomancer, and passes. Arja makes a Snake token on my upkeep from the Ophiomancer, which is replaced with an Angel token, and I then draw for turn. I then play Volrath's Stronghold, and then recast Dina, my Soul Ring, my Ghoulish Procession, and the Enduring Tenacity. I then follow them up with Sidisi, sacrificing the Enduring Tenacity as she comes in. This tutors me a card, and makes me a 2/2 Decayed Zombie token from the Procession. I then lose 2 life as I cast Infernal Grasp on Arja's Ophiomancer, and I pass turn. Max draws, plays an island, and then casts Quandrix. He cascades into Force of Will, which he decides to put on the bottom rather than counter his own commander, and Max passes after that. Mathieu's turn has him drawing and swinging Inti at Max, and he discards Angel of Indemnity to the on-attack trigger. This adds a counter onto Inti, and Max then takes the hit for 3. Matt then plays a Mistveiled Plains from exile. He then continues, recasting Hoffrey before passing to Arja. Arja draws and plays a Flooded Strand, cracking it and losing 1 for a Plains. He then casts Esper Sentinel, his Sedgemoor Witch, and then casts Reanimate on Mathieu's Angel of Indemnity. The Sedgemoor Witch makes an Angel token, and then the Angel of Indemnity enters, bringing back Arja's Ophiomancer. Going to combat, Arja hits Mathieu for 4 with his Angel, and moves to a second main phase. He casts a Felwar Stone, and then Ninir's Nightblade, and he passes. During the end step, Mathieu casts Swords to Plowshares on the Ophiomancer, so Arja won't get an Angel on my upkeep. I draw and cast Damnation, and with the board being wiped, Arja drains everyone for 2. I then cast Gorma the Gullet, And rather than announce each time a creature has extra counters as a result of this creature, just assume that we're doing it correctly because we do keep track of the creatures dying this turn. And follow up with Beledros Witherbloom. I then float 3 black mana before paying 10 life to Beledros to untap all of my lands. I continue with an Agadeem's Awakening, putting 5 into the X. I bring back a Haywire Mite, Zulaport Cutthroat, Warren Soul Trader, and Sidisi, and I then sacrifice the zombie token I made from the procession to Sidisi as she comes in to tutor for a card. This has the table getting drained for 1, and I drain Arja for 1 extra with the Enduring Tenacity trigger, and I follow up by casting a Bolas' Citadel. I cast the Pitiless Plunderer off the top, losing 4, and then Awakening Zone, losing 3, and then cast a Costly Plunder, sacrificing Sidisi to draw 2. I continue by casting Cultivate off the top, losing 3 more, and find a land for the field tapped and 1 to my hand. I then cast a Blood Artist off the top, losing 2, and then a Terra Sunder as well off the top, exiling Divine Visitation. I then cast Moldavine Reclamation and Nature's Lore. I then sacrifice the Haywire Mite to Warren Soul Trader's ability, losing 1 and getting 2 treasures, 1 from the Soul Trader and 1 from the Plunderer. I also drain the table for 1, and then gain a life with the Moldavine Reclamation, and drain with the Blood Artist, which deals an extra 2 to Arja because of the Enduring Tenacity. I then follow up with Viscera Seer, then Jadar, then Veto, and then a Gyre Sage. We then calculate that after all of my life gain by sacrificing stuff, and all the extra triggers I get, along with sacrificing 10 permanents to Bolas' Citadel, I'm able to then drain out my opponents, and finish them all off by activating Citadel and sacrificing some treasures, winning me the game. Game review time. So the best card of this game was obviously Bolas' Citadel, both in the case that I got to play it, and Arja got to play it, and casting spells for life is always good. Other than that, the entire group has really been enjoying the secrets of Strixhaven commanders, and there's a lot of fun design space. The dragons, yes, have a bit of a linear play since so much of them just want to have instants and sorceries, but Dina was great, Quintorius seemed like a lot of fun, and there's a lot of options. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.